Hello there, Seraphim17 once again, bringing you the next section in this DLC Dead Money video walkthrough. And as from the last one, we left off with trying to convince Dog, or God, depending on who you're going with, to stay in his lovely little improvised prison, basically. And he's having a little trouble with it, hence why we're having this conversation. And as I mentioned in the last video, if you don't want to go through this little inner conflict with him, you can just turn him into Dog, I assume, and make him sit, basically. But what we're going to be doing in the next few minutes of this video is I'm going to be doing the side quest that enables you to keep the intelligent side of God's personality and make him sit in this cage so that he flicks the switches for you. And all it entails is a needless little fetch quest to go pick up some shit from some bodies. And there we go, 2 chunks of meat from the body should be enough, because he's hungry, and you know, he likes to eat dead things. So you lose your perk, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a case of going back, and as you can see, it does say optional, so you can probably skip this bullshit if you're not wanting to do it. But I'm in an altruistic mood, so I think why not, I'll go hunt down some of them dudes, and I'll bring him back some food. And on your map straight away, you can see that you've now got objectives pointing at enemies, and I just stood in a bear trap, so be careful of that. It just broke my leg, but you know, I'm still walking on it. And as you can see on the screen, before I went to my Pip-Boy, there's another one of Dean's stashes. So make sure you pick that up, so that you've got as much equipment as you possibly can have, and then you can carry on. But at this moment in time, I'm picking the 9mm pistol, purely because it looks pretty badass. And my character's spec'd out for pistols and any kind of weaponry along that line. There we go, we've got a nice little snub nose, or just a normal revolver now. And there's our first piece of meat that we need to collect, so just dispatch them as you normally would, which my translation is shoot them as many times as VATS will allow in the face. So once you've finished knocking the teeth out with your bullets, dismember the corpse if you don't get the headshot kill. But you see there, his head's just gone flying, so we know that we're fine. So examine the body, get the dead meat. I'm still going to smack him with my stick because I haven't realised I've knocked his head off. Yeah, I am retarded at times, and that's a nice little testament to that. But once you've got the dead meat off his body, you've got to go and collect the second piece, which, as you can see, is the other arrowhead on my map. And going inside is always, yeah, the floor has teeth, which basically means there's going to be a bear trap on that carpet, and it's really, really well disguised. So be ever so careful when you come in here, or she will get another crippled limb. And if you were to be playing this on hardcore, that's going to totally fuck you. But there it is, can you see it? There we go, disarm the bear trap. In fact, I don't know what you'd actually do on this DLC if you were still playing in hardcore mode, because there doesn't seem to be an abundance of water, and if anybody's played that, you have to drink a lot of fluids to keep your dehydration limits down. And also, if you were to get crippled, excuse me, aside from the autodock stations, I'm not too sure how you would get healed. It'd be kind of weird. I don't know if you'd have to keep travelling. I'll have to look into that, but another one of Dean's stashes there, so make sure you pick that up. There's also a side effect of when you play this on hardcore, you're constantly being choked because of the gas that's in the area. So I'm assuming that you'll get debilitating effects on your screen and stuff like that. But I don't fancy that whatsoever. And I think I just stepped in another bear trap. And here's our other ghost dude, so just slap him with your big stick, show him who's boss, make him your bitch, and then rob his body for some more remains. And I think that's all that we need from him. There we go. Eat some garbage, irradiate myself, but it brings my life back, so why not? And then I can come back to Dog now and can pass him off the shit that he needs to stay here.
Better have brought enough meat.
There we go. So are you when you dog douchebag. But now that we've done that, it's just a case of retracing your steps all the way back into the villa area to the fountain and meeting up with the last member of your squad that you've got to take on his little journey. And for me on this playthrough, it's going to be Dino, or Dean Domino as he's known. So once again, you can look around if you need to. If you're all business, just look straight to your map, find where the waypoint is and get there as quickly as you can. These streets are probably going to be abandoned now purely because we've just been killing a ton of the ghost people, so I don't actually think there's going to be any of them that will respawn. This is also a good opportunity if you want to go to any of the vending machines that you know of and stock up on your stim packs or on any other buffs that you can add to your character. But as you can see, I'm a little gung-ho, so I'm just going to run in there overzealously and just try and kick some ass. So here we go. Door to the villa, and there's just a couple more streets back to where we need to be. And yeah, it can be a pretty barren place, this villa, when you've killed dudes, because it's very dark, it's very grim. It's almost as if they're expecting it to build an atmosphere that it never really accumulates to. I was actually discussing this DLC with a friend of mine yesterday, and he feels pretty similar to me about the DLC not being the strongest. But I'm just hoping that anyone else that gets it doesn't feel like they've wasted the points, because there is some goodness to be found here. It's just hidden amongst the shit, unfortunately. Couple of rad roaches popping about. That's what you get, boy! Nice little exterminator action. And a footlocker, which is probably going to have a weapon in it. There you go, an automatic rifle. So if you've not got that weapon, you can pick it up there. If you've got one that's slightly starting to, you know, decompose, you can always use that one to get its condition back up. And here is an interesting vending. This is like a demolished shop with a hologram that you can speak to and buy shit off him, I think. But as you can see, I'm robbing his shop in front of his eyes and he's not saying a damn thing. There we go. Return outfit item, which means we can now start returning things to the vending machines and getting currency for doing it. And you'll actually notice that I don't do this whatsoever during this DLC, and the reason for that is I never really felt the need to. But I have heard from other sources that it can be a really easy way of getting a ton of money and making this even easier than it is. So that's something to bear in mind. If you want to take the economic approach and you want to, you know, recycle your shit that you're finding in all these decrepit buildings, then that might be a good option. But I personally didn't indulge. Because as you can see, if you look hard enough, you're going to find these Sierra Madre chips, and the shit in the vending machines isn't too expensive, unless you're going for crazy stuff. And it's just a case of retracing your steps and watching me as I explore, basically. Bit of wine in the fridge, always good. You see, that's an interesting thing as well. The medical brace is the equivalent to a caliper. And if any of you don't really know what that is, it's if you've had a bad break on your leg. And what they do is, you have these rods, these steel rods inserted in where, like, your kneecap and your ankle and things, and it's to straighten out the bone when it heals. And it's generally got like a piece of metal running between the joists that goes to make sure that your leg stays straight. And an easiest picture that you can get is Mad Max 2. After Mad Max 1, obviously Mel Gibson's character Max gets fucked up on the road and he messes up his ankle. And in the second one, we see him wearing a caliper. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but on the original, on Fallout 3, there was the leather armor, and I think it's on this one as well. And when you put that on, you practically looked like Mad Max, and it was like, oh yeah, this is fucking awesome. Mad Max is a badass. I love it. I'm gonna wear this for the entire game, kind of thing. And then I saw the medical brace, which is practically a caliper what he wears in Mad Max 2, and you can't equip it. And I was really, really pissed off at that, because you would have practically been Mad Max with your medical brace on your knee, your leather armor, and your sawn-off shotgun. You would have been him. The only thing missing then is the awesome car, but there's no cars on these games, as everyone knows. And that was just a little nuance that pissed me off. But anyway, we're back to Dean Domino now, and it's a case of just having a slight conversation with him as he tells you more bullshit about how successful he used to be before his skin fell off. And then it's a case of just following your waypoint and taking him to the next objective. But this being Fallout, it's never that simple, because if you want to get into the minds of the characters, you've got to talk. It does look pretty suave in his shades. It doesn't quite match his collar, but, you know, we'll let him off. And there is quite a lot of things to say to this guy, so you can get lost in these trees. There we go. Dean has given you the Unclean Living perk, which basically means that you're not going to get affected by the noxious cloud as quickly as you would have without him, which is kind of cool. And at this moment in time, if you do have too much gear on you, you can use him as a drug mule, or as a a carrying mule, should I say, and just chuck all the shit you don't need onto him, because he's dead weight and he'll carry it for you. Just be sure to take it back off him before you leave, because after we've set everybody up for this gala event, you don't actually meet these guys straight away in the next section of this DLC, so be warned. I say be warned, the game itself actually warns you when you go into the Sierra Madre, but we'll get there in due time, so there you go, there's your direction. Make sure that your life's topped up, make sure that you're wearing decent equipment and you've got your best weapon in full condition, and then just carry on moving through this dirty villa. Here I go, duct taping some shit. Dead Rising 2 style. So there we go, there's the waypoint. I'm going to look at my map though, because there's no visible opening there, and it is a little bit confusing. But there we go, sneaky little alley, and that should take us where we need to go. Another vending machine for anybody that needs to stock up. And just keep carrying on through this labyrinth. Couple of Madre chips, couple of ammunition for your holo rifle if you're using it. And then into the Puesta del Sol North, which, as we can see, we've had a nice little gradient change of the level back to the piss yellow or the sour green, whichever one you want to call it. And then there's more buildings to explore. And here we go, back to the collar bullshit. So at this point in the DLC, I still haven't realised that the radios are the things that are affecting the collar, and it's the mounted things on the wall. So you're not going to see me shooting any of them, even if I see them. But now I've told you guys from like video 1 that that's what it's going to be. Just keep your eyes open for them, and it will make your life a lot easier. And this is kind of like a multiple choice area. You can either go to the left or you can go to the right. It both leads to possibly the same area. One might be a dead end with like a cache full of ammunition and weapons and things. The other one probably leads to where you need to be. So here we go. And I left that loading screen in there purely because it was a small one. It wasn't one of the patented Fallout loading screens which take forever. And if you look on these shelves here, there's a couple of tools, a couple of hard hats and things, but there is a couple of boxes around here that you can pick. There we go. And a couple more Madre chips and some turpentine, if you're that way inclined. Boxes full of turpentine. You see, I suppose if this place was being painted, I could understand that, but it doesn't exactly look like it's had that much of a lick of paint. And with all the occupants being as winos as they are, we've got, you know, novelty glasses of gin and scotch everywhere. And a little bit more exposition here on the vending machines. Which that has added us the demolition charge, weapon repair kits, and various other good things. So that's a good example of what those machines can do. Even if you're the type of player that doesn't want to sit and read through all the reams of text, if you look at the computers you can get little bonuses like that, so it's always worth checking out regardless of your inclination to them. And as we can see, it's just around the other side of this building. But it takes me a while to figure it out because this place is kind of like a maze. And Dino is not exactly the most forthcoming of members. He's not telling me what I'm supposed to be doing, so we'll just throw caution to the wind and get this shit done. So back out into the weak coffee filtered sky or whatever it is, and having a little look around. It's definitely putting off an East European vibe, this place. I don't know if y'all guys are getting it. With the little shutters that go across the windows and shit, you know, from like the 1800s or something crazy. And all the little lanterns and things and little novelty items. But we're coming to the end of this video, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next part. You take care now.